Hey guys, so today I'm doing a purple smoky eye look. I'm starting off with my Olay moisturizer, and this is a drugstore product. It's really cheap, and I use this just as a regular primer. And then I'm going in with my CoverGirl Ready Set Gorgeous concealer in the shade Light, and I'm just using that on just some dark spots, acne spots, and then I'm just going to be blending that out with a Real Techniques sponge. These spots are obviously going to be lighter on your face. You don't have to worry about blending it out too much because your foundation is going to cover it pretty well. So I'm going to go in with the CoverGirl Ready Set Gorgeous foundation in the shade 120, and I'm just going to put that all over. I'm going to spray a little Fix Plus on it just so that it goes on a little more seamlessly, and then just blend that out. I'm going in with a M439 brush from Morphe, and this is like my favorite foundation brush. Just makes everything go on really, really nice. And don't forget those ears, that jawline, down the neck, and I also wiped off my lips because the foundation just looks weird when it's laying on there. And then I'm taking the Real Technique sponge and just taking off any excess, blending it out, just making sure that everything looks pretty blended. Then I'm going in with my Mary Kay Translucent Loose Powder. You can get this at the link down below. And I love, love, love this powder. It just makes everything look really, really nice. And I just really like it. I'm taking the G7 round brush from Morphe, and it just goes on really well. It doesn't make anything look too powdery. And I'm taking some Fix Plus and just spraying that all over just to fuse my foundation and my powder together. Then I'm quickly doing my eyebrows. You guys have seen me use the same three products. I will always be using the same three products. They're all from Anastasia Beverly Hills. I'm using the pomade, the Dip Brow in medium brown. I'm always using a number 7 brush because it's like the most precise little brush for eyebrows. It's perfect. And then I'm of course using the tinted brow gel just to like keep my hairs in place. And then I'm using this new Wonder Pencil by NYX. I don't believe it's new at all. I've had it a really long time, but I just kind of like rediscovered it in my stash and I absolutely love it. I think it's so creamy and it goes on so well. And then I just take a regular flat kind of brush, and this one's from Sephora, and I just use that just to blend out the edges and sharpen up that line, and it just works perfectly. It works just as well as the concealer if you use a concealer on your brow bone, but this works really, really well. It's really precise, so I enjoy using it. Again, this technique is just to lift your eyebrows. Then I'm going in with the original eyeshadow primer potion from Urban Decay, and I'm just applying that with my finger. I feel that that's like the best way to use this primer. I've used like the Beauty Blender before and some other small kind of brushes trying to use this, but I find that my finger just works well. It warms up the product and it just applies it really well. So I'm just using that and putting it all over above my crease, pretty much right under my eyebrow. Then for the eyes, I'm taking the shade Framed from the Vice 4 palette from Urban Decay, and I'm putting that pretty much right above my crease, sort of like in the brow bone. I'm using this just as a base for like my transition shade. The brush that I'm using came with this palette. This was the first time I was using it, and I'm not a huge fan of it just because I find that it's really small, maybe for better precision, but I wasn't crazy about it. Then I'm taking the shade Bitter. I love this shade. It's kind of like a burnt red or like a brick kind of color. And so I'm using that just in the outer area and in the crease. And to apply this, I'm using an E30 blending fluff brush from Morphe. This is a pretty big brush considering that it's for eyeshadow, but I find that it works really well when applying shades like this, like in the crease, or if you just want to kind of do like anything with blending, I find that it just works really well. So obviously this isn't a brush that you use for anything super precise, but if you're just wanting to add color or like pack on the color, I find that it works really well. I think that the best way to use it is the way that I'm using it right here, just because I've used it to pack on other stuff and it just doesn't work as well as kind of this way. Then I'm using the M505 from Morphe, and this is just a tapered blending brush. I use this just to blend any part of my eyeshadow out. You can use it to blend out in the crease, above the crease. You can use it to blend out just any harsh lines along your eyeshadow. So I'm using this on the lower part and the highest part of where I put that bitter color. So you really want to take your time with this step. This is the part that's gonna look the smokiest, and this is just like the transition area. So this is gonna be the shade that's gonna be above your darkest shade. So you really want to make sure that it's really blended out, because once you pack on the color on your lid, it's a little bit more difficult to then start blending out above it. So then I'm going to take Underhand from the same palette, and this is like a deep purple. I'm applying this with a G14 oval shadow brush from Morphe, and I love this brush to pack on colors. I think it applies really well, so I'm using that. And then I'm just taking I'm going to take some Fix Plus pretty soon and just spray that on the brush just to intensify, because at this point I was liking it, but I definitely wanted it to be a little more intense. So I sprayed on that Fix Plus, and as you can see, it starts to get way darker than the other eyelid. So I'm not going above the crease, I'm just keeping it right into the crease and below. I'm not going above, because once you start going above, that's when you will start to look like you got punched in the eye. So you'll start to have that black eye kind of look. And I think that's where a lot of people go wrong when they try to do smoky eyes. You always want to keep it in the crease and below. I'm going to take that same fluffy blending brush as before, and I'm just going to blend out the very edge of where we applied that dark purple color. You don't want to blend anywhere else because you want to keep the purple intensified. So you don't want to change that shade. If you start using this brush over like kind of the whole lid, you'll end up taking off product or just making it look a bit lighter. So just take your time, go along the edges. This is a really good brush just to get the edges just smoothed out and nothing looks too harsh. You want to keep it looking smoky, and so just keep blending, blending, blending. Then I'm taking the shade Delete from the Vice 4 palette, and I'm putting that with a G16 angle blender shadow brush. And this is good for just creating that like outer V. And so that's exactly what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be putting this into the outer crease and just blending that. I'm not going really any further in with this than about the middle of the eye. So once you kind of hit your pupil, that's kind of where you want like the ending point to be. And so you're just gonna keep using that and then going back with that blending brush and just feathering that out, making sure that everything looks smoky and not too harsh. You can apply that delete shade as much as you want just to make it super dark at the ends, but I just wanted to keep it smoky. In order to add more drama, I'm using the Maybelline Eye Studio Gel Liner. This is a drugstore product, so you can find this at like Walgreens or Rite Aid, CVS, anything like that. So I'm just taking this gel liner with a very thin um, pointed brush, and this one's just a regular one from Sephora. And I'm just going along the waterline um, and just making it pretty thin. I'm not making it too thick because I don't want to cover up that shadow. And then I'm going in the very corners and just bringing it out and just making sort of the inner corner, bringing it to like a tip, and then bringing it back out onto the bottom lower lash line. So I'm just dragging that out carefully. You don't have to be too careful because we're going to smoke everything out, but you definitely want to keep it on the waterline. And in order to keep with the smoky look, you want an eyeliner, like a gel liner or any kind of liner, to just be a matte finish, like this NYX eyeliner. I'm using this just to sharpen up the lines. You don't want to use anything that is too wet looking. I'm using that same CoverGirl concealer as before. It's the same one that I used before my foundation, and I'm just applying this underneath the eyes and the around the cheekbone area. This is just going to brighten up underneath the eyes, and then I'm also taking it around the nose because I always get red around that area, so I'm just going to be blending that out as well. And you want to do this before finishing the bottom part of the eyes because then if you go back, it'll just get kind of messy. Then I'm using this facial highlighting pen in shade 2 from Mary Kay. And again, the link is down below and it's right here on the screen. This is really nice. This is the first time I'm using this highlighting pen. You just turn the bottom and it squeezes out through the brush, the tip of the brush. So it's kind of a one-step thing. And then I'm using this Kat Von D Shade and Light Contour Palette. I am using the shade Levitation, and I'm just packing that underneath um, right on the same areas where I use the CoverGirl concealer and the highlighting pen. This just keeps those areas of the face nice and bright. So then I'm going in with an M508 smudger brush from Morphe, and I'm smudging out that black eyeliner and also applying some more of the purple shade. And I'm just taking this just to dust the bottom, and you can bring this as low as you want. And then I'm taking the Better Than Sex mascara from Too Faced and just applying this on the upper eyelashes and the bottom. This mascara has a huge wand, so it picks up a lot of product, and it's just a big wand to use, so just be careful with the bottom lashes. I'm taking the Chocolate Soleil bronzer from Too Faced, and I'm just taking this with a BH Cosmetics big fluff brush. They don't have any names or numbers, so then I'm taking the M335 Chubby Buffer brush and contouring my nose. Then using this Bling It On blush palette in the shade Fetching. And I am applying that all over my cheeks. And I love this palette. It's got beautiful shades. It just came out for the holidays. So I really love it. And another new product that just came out is the Champagne Glow Highlighter Palette from Becca Cosmetics, and it's a collab with Jaclyn Hill. And I'm using this with a number 23 brush by Anastasia Beverly Hills. And this is the one that they came out with their highlighter shades. Then I'm going in with Cocoa, and this is a retractable lip liner from NYX, and I'm just putting that all over the lines of my lips and then brushing it out just with a regular brush just to give it like this ombre sort of effect so that the lines are not too harsh. And then I'm using Anastasia lip gloss in Kristen. As usual, I'm finishing up the look with my all-nighter long-lasting setting spray from Urban Decay, and that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in my next video.